What's going on this week in Nerf?
Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and this is the week that we've been waiting for almost a year. Hyper. Official announcement. But first, other stuff. Hog Wild and Zing had to make do with a virtual toy fair this year, but there are some pretty cool products coming out. Hog Wild announced the Switchfire Power Bow for $19.99. This is a bow that has 3 different strings with different pull strengths. So you can tune it down for little kids with lower power, or you could use the highest power string and try to shoot as far as you can. It looks like it includes standard Zing arrows, of which there are 3, and it claims ranges of 75, 150, and 250 feet, with the low, medium, and high power strings, respectively. The customization there is actually pretty freaking cool. And then Zing announced the wrist bow for $14.99. It'll fire up to 30 feet with its soft suction arrows, of which it includes 3. There's clips on the side of the wrist thing for storage, so you can have 1 arrow on each side and then 1 on the actual bow. It claims to be safe for indoor and outdoor play, but these arrows do kind of still hit hard due to their weight. So make sure you keep that in mind, and also keep in mind, many clubs don't allow ammo with hard plastic. There are several that outlaw Zing specifically, so if you're getting it with wars in mind, make sure you remember that and check with your club first. Hasbro's licensing partnership with Epic is being extended for 5 years, as well as expanding the terms to include things like merchandise, figures, and role-playing gear. We've seen an absolutely massive amount of Fortnite blasters in the last 2 years. There's been just a ridiculous amount of blasters and a ton of different reskins, as well as some melee toys and some super soakers. There's just so many. It's clear that this branding is here to stay, and we can expect much more in the years to come, as well as action figures and collectibles. You all wanted more powerful and compact pistols, so here you go. Inspired by Cyberpunk 2077's Lizzie, this sci-fi pistol, Gecko, by Adrian, is 140 FPS top prime pistol in about the same size as a Dart Zone Mark II. It has a similar plunger tube volume to a Retaliator and takes Retaliator springs, and it's crammed into this form factor by a backwards plunger system, kind of similar to the Lynx. It hits 140 FPS in this size and is fed through the new worker angled Talon mags. But the most exciting feature? Slam fire. Because of course it does. It's a pretty awesome little blaster, and you can buy the files now on Adrian's Etsy for just over $18. As far as the hardware is concerned, Rainbow Mods and Props has some hardware kits for $47, or you could source your own. There's a parts list available, so. And in more community blaster news, after 2 years in development, Manatee X72 has released the Manatee V4. It's a bullpup flywheel blaster hitting 140 FPS with short darts, making it perfect for super stock play. It has a solenoid pusher, which gives you an interesting recoil feeling when you fire, which should be pretty fun. And my favorite thing is that the optic riser looks like it doubles as a carry handle, and it really lessens the blocky shape of the blaster. So if you like bullpup ergonomics and want a solid blaster for super stock games, this might be one to try. You can get the hardware kit on Etsy for $75, and the files are free to download on Thingiverse. And as usual, I always want to give extra props for having detailed print and assembly guides with words and pictures. It is super helpful when assembling a blaster. And now the moment you have all been waiting for, the official hyper reveal. We've been seeing trickles of leaks for nearly a year now, and we finally have some solid facts. Mini Rival confirmed. The Hasbro SVP said, in the volume where you could previously house 25 Rival rounds, you can now fit 100 Hyper rounds. In this image, you can see a comparison to a rival ball. It's not possible to know the exact size for sure because of viewing angles and how cameras work, but the estimation is 13 to 14 millimeters, which is approximately the diameter of an elite dart. It's pretty safe to say that the material is going to be different than rival. Previous leaked listings and an article from The Verge mention a new material, but don't offer more of an explanation than that just yet. The article claims that Hyper will fly further while still being able to bounce. And now for the blasters. All of them seem to be hopper fed and are claiming about 110 FPS. Rival reaches 90 to 100 FPS, so I don't really see much reason to doubt that point. First up is the Hyper Rush 40 for $30. This is a 40-round pistol, a single-shot Springer. You just pull back on the slide, which includes the entire hopper, and then pull the trigger to fire it. And then there's the Hyper Siege 50 for $40. This is a pump-action Springer with slam fire, which is awesome. I love slam fire. It holds 50 rounds, just like the name implies. And then, lastly, it's the Hyper Mach 100 for $70. A 100-round, full-auto flywheeler. It appears to be similarly sized to the Percy's while holding twice as much ammo. That's actually insane. These are all very distinctly different from the drawings that we saw last year, and it's impossible to know for sure if those images were based on a concept of an evolving design, or if those are entirely different blasters yet to be announced. But in any case, I do really like the look of these blasters. The colors look great together, and they're well distributed. They didn't go overboard with the greebles, and they also don't look flat or boring. It's great design, and Hasbro is giving something for everyone at launch. There's a top prime, a pump action, and full auto blasters, and that's super awesome. And reloading should be pretty easy with the handy canisters that the ammo is going to be sold in. Similar to paintball hoppers, you just dunk more rounds in right from the canister. From these promotional images, it doesn't look like there's any kind of mating mechanism from the canister to the hopper, so it might take a little bit of practice to get all the rounds in the blaster instead of on the floor. Hasbro was also thoughtful enough to include clips to attach them to the rails of blasters for really easy access. But I do feel like it's difficult to tell from these images how durable they're going to be. I have a feeling that these are going to be semi-consumable. It looks like you could probably get a handful of uses out of them before the lid breaks or the plastic cracks or something like that. And while I'm excited to see what kind of performance these blasters are capable of and how Hyper can change the way we play and all the new mods that'll surely be made, I do have some concerns with the line. The fact that you can hold 4 times more ammo in the same space as rival is awesome, but that also means that 4 times more ammo might end up on the field and need to be collected. I worry that with the small size and the increased quantity, it'll be more difficult to find in tall grass and in bushes, and lead to our community unintentionally littering our parks and campuses and potentially impacting wildlife. Of course, I'm waiting until I have some ammo in person before I make a final decision, but I might end up banning this from my local group. We already have geese trying to eat our ammo mid-game. It's a hassle, and I would feel really awful if some of them died from swallowing Hyper. And because of things like that, always make sure that you're checking with your game organizers before you get too excited about using specific blasters for your games. But anyway, if I had an indoor venue, I would be 10 times more excited about these blasters because they do legitimately seem cool, and I'm sure the mod potential is amazing, and I am really looking forward to playing with them around the house. After making sure that my cats aren't interested in eating them. That's important to find out. And now it's time for the mod of the week, and this week it comes from Hamano80 with the Cam 2020. And I have some trouble believing that this is their first integration. It just looks so good. It's mostly a cam, but the screen's been replaced with chrono barrel guts, so now it shows ammo count and FPS. The stock and the thumb hole area were made from a crossbolt for some extra mag storage, and in that storage, the jam door there was modified so you can top load into that stock storage on the go, which is super cool. The rest of the stock was then completed with a Praxis for comfort, and all of that is topped off with a gorgeous paint job and matching accessories. And it doesn't even stop there. Inside, it has a 42.5mm cage, Hyperion motors, and smoothie flywheels, hitting an average of 110 FPS. And it's got lights and sounds when firing. Like, it just keeps coming. It's awesome work. Thanks for sharing it. And that is all of the news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, the links to everything that I talked about are down in the description. And while you're down there, there's that subscribe button and the like button. And you could leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about Hyper. Am I freaking out too much about worrying about the cleanup, or is that a normal concern? I can't be sure until it's on the field and I'm trying it and it's either fine or it's not. Who's to say? I am really excited to see all the mods that come out though. It's gonna be so cool. But yeah, that's everything. Next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on this channel. Goodbye.